You're sitting at your kitchen table on a Sunday night, spreadsheet open, coffee getting cold. You've color-coded your categories, set up the perfect budget system, again, and this time you swear it'll stick. You've allocated every dollar, you know exactly where the money should go, and you feel that little spark of hope that maybe this month will be different. But there's a catch. By the 18th of the month, you're $47 over in groceries, your miscellaneous category is completely blown, and you're moving money between columns like you're playing financial Jenga. And the worst part? You're blaming yourself. You're thinking you just don't have the discipline, that you're bad with money, that if you could just stick to the plan for once. Listen to me. That's not what's happening here. Quick thing before we get into it. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't personal financial advice. I'm just some nerd who spends way too much time looking at how money actually works in real life. If you're making big money moves, talk to a qualified professional who actually knows your situation. According to a U.S. bank study, only 41% of Americans use a budget. But here's the wild part. Of the people who do budget, research from Mint shows that nearly 65% of them go over budget regularly. That means a majority of people who are trying to do the right thing, who are putting in the effort, are still failing. Not because they are broken, not because they lack discipline, but because the entire budget framework most people use is designed for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Here's what messes people up. Traditional budgeting treats money like it's predictable, monthly, and stable. But your actual life, it's not monthly. Your expenses hit on random days. Your income might be consistent, but the bills don't all land on the 1st. You've got subscriptions pulling on the 7th, insurance on the 15th, groceries spread across the entire month, and that one annual charge you completely forgot about until your checking account screams. The villain here isn't you. It's the monthly budget lens, the assumption that you can divide your money into neat little monthly buckets and reality will cooperate. Let me say it plainly, you don't have a discipline problem. You have a timing problem. Here's the part that makes me mad. When most people set up a budget, they think in categories. $600 for groceries, $200 for gas, $150 for utilities, $100 for fun. They set those numbers, they feel organized, and then they try to live inside those lines for 30 days. But there's a catch. Your brain doesn't experience money in categories. Your brain experiences money in moments. It's Tuesday, you're exhausted, you didn't meal prep, and there's a Chipotle on the way home. In that exact second, your brain isn't thinking I've spent $487 of my $600 grocery budget, and it's only the 14th. Your brain is thinking I'm hungry, I'm tired, I earned this, and I have money in my account. That's your brain protecting relief and immediate comfort, and the traditional budget system completely ignores it because it's focused on monthly totals instead of moment-by-moment reality. Quick math. If you go $50 over budget just 2 times a month, maybe one extra takeout week and one unexpected expense, that's $100 a month or $1,200 a year that your budget said shouldn't happen but did anyway. That's not a rounding error. That's rent in some places. Now watch what happens next. You look at your budget at the end of the month, see you went over again, and what do? You blame yourself. You think, I just need more willpower. So next month you set even stricter limits, which makes a budget feel more like punishment, which makes you less likely to engage with it, which makes you more likely to avoid looking at it entirely until something bounces. This is where people get trapped. They are stuck in a cycle of plan, fail, shame, repeat, and they think the answer is better discipline when the actual answer is a better system. Let's say it plainly. Most budget failures happen because of one specific design flaw. The budget doesn't account for when money moves, only how much moves. Here's a real scenario. You get paid on the 1st and 15th. Your rent is due on the 1st, $1,400. Your car payment is on the 5th, $350. Your credit card minimum is on the 10th, $120. Your phone bill is on the 18th, $85. And your car insurance is on the 22nd, $180. You've budgeted for all of this. The money exists in theory. But there's a catch. On the 20th, you've already paid rent, the car, and the credit card. Your second paycheck hits on the 15th, but by the 22nd when insurance is due, you've also bought groceries twice, filled up gas 3 times, grabbed coffee a few times, and paid for your kid's school trip. Suddenly, that $180 insurance bill feels like an emergency even though you budgeted for it. This isn't a discipline problem. This is a calendar problem disguised as a budget problem. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that nearly 23% of American adults have overdrafted in the past year, and the most common reason isn't overspending. It's timing mismatch. People have the money for their expenses over the course of the month, but they don't have it at the exact moment the bill is due. Quick math. If you get hit with just one overdraft fee a month at $35, close to the average, that's $420 a year. If you prevent that with better timing awareness, that's $420 you didn't hand to a bank. That's not motivation, that's mechanics. Here's what makes this worse. Most people operate with what I call the one-pile default. All their money lands in one checking account, and every expense pools. From that same pile, they look at their balance and think, I have $2,300 in my account, so they feel okay spending $60 on dinner. But there's a catch. That $2,300 isn't actually yours to spend freely. $1,400 of it is rent that's due in 4 days. $350 is your car payment. $180 is insurance. By the time you account for what's already spoken for, your actual spendable money is closer to $370, but your account says $2,300, so your brain treats it like $2,300. That's your brain protecting a sense of abundance and freedom. And the one-pile default loves it because it keeps you confused about how much room you actually have. Some of you are thinking, but I keep track mentally. I know what's coming. Fair question. Here's why that doesn't work. Mental accounting fails the second you're tired, distracted, or emotionally spent. You're not a computer. You're a human being who had a long day and doesn't want to do mental math in the Starbucks line. According to research from the JP Chase Institute, families with volatile income, but also families with stable income and volatile expenses, are significantly more likely to overdraft, precisely because they are relying on mental tracking instead of systemic separation. Cool. So here's the actual framework that works. Stop building a budget around monthly categories. Start building a budget around your financial calendar, when money arrives and when money leaves. Phase 1. Map your actual timing. Take 20 minutes and write down every bill you have and the date it's due. Not the category, not the amount at first, just the date. Rent on the 1st, car on the 5th, credit card on the 10th, phone on the 18th, Netflix on the 22nd. Insurance on the 27th. Now add your paycheck dates. If you're paid bi-weekly, mark those. If you're paid monthly, mark that. If your income is inconsistent, pick the earliest likely date and work from there. You're not making a budget yet. You're making a calendar of financial potholes, a visual map of when you're going to hit friction. Phase 2. Assign dollars to dates, not months. Now here's a counter move. When you get paid, immediately assign portions of that money to the specific bills coming before your next paycheck. Let's say you get paid $2,400 on the 1st. Rent is due that day, $1,400. Your car payment is on the 5th, $350. Credit card is on the 10th, $120. That's $1,870 spoken for between now and your next check on the 15th. You have $530 left for groceries, gas, and life until the 15th. That's your actual number. Not $2,400. Not I'll figure it out, $530. When your next check hits on the 15th for another $2,400, you do it again. Phone bill on the 18th, $85. Insurance on the 22nd, $180. Another round of groceries and gas. You assign dollars to the obligations coming before your next paycheck. This is the part that makes people say, wait, that's just a budget. But there's a catch. It's not. A traditional budget says you have $600 for groceries this month. This system says you have $280 for groceries until the 15th. Then you get another $320 to finish the month. The psychological difference is massive. Phase 3. Separate the piles physically if possible. Use multiple accounts or sub-accounts to create physical separation. One checking account for bills. One for groceries and gas. One for discretionary spending. Some banks let you create buckets or goals within one account. Use those. The moment your paycheck hits, move money into the right pile based on your calendar. Your rent pile gets $1,400. Your bills pile gets $650. Your groceries pile gets $400. Your discretionary pile gets whatever's left. Now, when you look at your discretionary account and see $180, you know that's actually free money. You're not doing mental math about whether that $180 is really available. The system did the math for you. I can already hear some of you saying, I don't have enough money to split into different accounts. It's all spoken for. I believe you. That's real. But there's a catch. If your money is that tight, you need this system even more, not less, because every dollar of timing error costs you fees you can't afford. According to Bankrate, the average American has $1,250 in their checking account at any given time, but the median is closer to $600. That means half of Americans are operating with basically no buffer, which makes timing precision not optional, it's survival. Here's the thing. The reason traditional category budgets fail isn't because categories are wrong. It's because categories alone don't prevent the moment-by-moment decisions that blow up your plan. When you budget by timing and physically separate money, you're adding useful friction. You have to think before you spend because the money isn't just sitting in one giant pile tempting you. But there's a catch. This only works if you actually do the separation. If you map out your calendar and then leave all your money in one account anyway, you're back to the one pile default and nothing changes. Quick math. Let's say by preventing timing-based overdrafts and impulse spending from feeling rich, when you see a big balance, you save just $150 a month. That's $1,800 a year. Over 10 years at a conservative 7% return if you invest that instead, that's nearly $26,000. That's not life-changing overnight, but your future self is going to be really glad you figured this out. But I already use Mint YNABL every dollar. Why isn't it working? Fair question. Tools like YNAB actually do focus on timing. They call it giving every dollar a job and assigning money to expenses before they happen. But here's the catch. Most people set up YNAB. They link their accounts, they make their categories, and then they stop engaging with it because it feels like homework. The system I'm describing doesn't require an app. It works with any bank that lets you create sub-accounts or even with cash in envelopes if you want to go old school. The tool isn't the system. The calendar awareness is a system. What about irregular expenses? How do I budget for things that aren't monthly? Great question. This is where people get destroyed. You've got car registration once a year, $200. Amazon Prime annually, $139. Holiday gifts, back-to-school stuff. Your dog's vet visit. Here's a counter move. Divide annual and irregular expenses by 12 and treat them like a monthly bill. If you know you spend roughly $600 a year on irregular stuff, that's $50 a month you set aside into a separate pile. When the expense hits, the money's already there. This is what financial people call a sinking fund, but I just call it not getting ambushed by your own life. I have a regular income, gig work, freelance, commissions. How does this work? Honestly, this gets harder, but the principle stays the same. You need to figure out your bare minimum monthly obligations, the stuff that must be paid no matter what. Rent, insurance, minimum debt payments, groceries. Add that up. Let's say it's $2,800. That means every single dollar you earn goes toward filling that $2,800 obligation pool first. Once that's covered for the month, everything else is extra. You don't spend extra on lifestyle until the baseline is secure. It's stricter, yes, but there's a catch. If you don't do this, you're gambling every month that you'll earn enough right when bills are due, and that's how people end up with overdrafts, late fees, and credit card debt they never planned to carry. Here's what's actually happening when you switch from category budgeting to timing-based money assignment. You're moving from someone who reacts to their balance to someone who controls their calendar. You've gone from, I have $1,800 in my account, I can spend $60 on dinner, to, I have $220 in my discretionary pile after handling everything that's due this week, so I need to be intentional. That's not restriction. That's clarity. The problem wasn't that you didn't care. The problem was that you were trying to build a roof in the rain. You were trying to impose discipline on a system that was designed to confuse you. Your future self is going to look back at this moment, the moment you stop blaming yourself for a structural design flaw, and feel actual relief. The reason your budget isn't working has nothing to do with your discipline and everything to do with your system. Traditional budgets focus on monthly categories, but your life runs on daily and weekly timing. That mismatch creates constant failure. The fix? Map your financial calendar. Assign dollars to specific upcoming dates instead of vague monthly totals, and physically separate your money into piles so your brain can't lie to you about what's available. If you prevent just one overdraft a month, $35, and reduce impulse spending by $100 by adding clarity, that's $1,620 a year you didn't lose to timing confusion. Over a decade, that's real money. So here's your action step. Comment, "I map my calendar" down below. That's your tiny contract with yourself. Don't write an essay. Just comment that phrase. I want to see how many people are ready to stop blaming themselves and fix the system instead. If this helped, like the video and subscribe. If you want to know how to actually build an emergency fund using this timing-based approach, watch that video next.